At the beginning of the drama, we see a girl named Jiyeon. She was so beautiful that with just one glimpse, all the school students would stop and stare at her, and not just the boys. Even the girls were completely crazy about her. Everyone was her fan. She would just flip her hair or wink, and people would gather around her, begging her for photos. Then suddenly, two boys bumped into Jiyeon, and she came out of her dream world. The reality was that Jiyeon was just an ordinary student, and all this was only her imagination. Nothing like this actually happened in real life. That's why all her high school years passed in sadness. Everyone in school used social media, where people could create a fake identity, become popular, and get everyone's attention. But Jiyeon didn't understand what she should post. She thought of taking advice from the boy sitting next to her, but he was also a quiet and shy person. And he didn't use social media much either, so he couldn't give Jiyeon any answer. Jiyeon started feeling that the world around her was very boring. She wished she could be like the class president, beautiful and smart, someone whose words everyone listened to. Or like Bondu, who was very outgoing and friendly and made friends with everyone. If she couldn't become someone like that, then at least she wanted looks like an idol trainee. Just looking good was enough to stay in the spotlight. If you don't have those special qualities, then you're just another ordinary student. And the popular kids always hung out together. You could tell just by watching them. Jiyeon wanted to become someone special too, and bring herself out of this invisible life. While returning home, Jiyeon asked her AI assistant, "How can I become famous?" But the reply she got was very generic. "Do whatever you feel like." How irritating that answer was. Just then, Jiyeon got a call from her mom. She had to eat dinner alone tonight because her mom was going to a buffet. Leaving her daughter at home, Jiyeon started feeling that she was invisible everywhere, not only in school but even in her family's eyes. She became very sad, and her bad luck didn't stop there. A stranger, careless and inattentive, bumped into her and didn't even apologize. Disappointed, Jiyeon just kept walking. That night, Jiyeon was lying on her bed, scrolling on her phone. Her online friends were encouraging each other, which gave Jiyeon a little comfort. But when everyone logged off and went to sleep, Jiyeon fell back into that same lonely, boring feeling again. The next day in class, the school idol himself came to talk to Jiyeon. He had forgotten his phone, so he came to borrow Jiyeon's phone. It was the first time Jiyeon had seen him so closely. She felt like he was glowing. He really was the most handsome boy in the school. The idol asked her a few questions, which made Jiyeon shy, but the conversation stayed limited to a brief introduction. Jiyeon couldn't understand how they were in the same class and still knew nothing about each other. The idol returned Jiyeon's phone. Jiyeon wanted to go to the ground with him, but he wasn't going. He said he had some other work. Jiyeon had to go to the ground alone. Jiyeon looked like a lost soul. She just sat there thinking about the idol's personality. All she wanted was that she could somehow become his girlfriend. In the next scene, Jiyeon returned to class and saw that everyone was discussing something. It turned out that a girl's lipstick had gone missing. Everyone suspected Jiyeon because she was the last one who had stayed in class. The class president stepped forward and said that she hoped Jiyeon would explain. Jiyeon admitted that she had indeed stayed in the classroom, but the last person who left was actually the idol. The girl whose lipstick was missing got angry and said Jiyeon was trying to blame the idol because he could never do such a thing. Everyone started staring at Jiyeon as if she was lying. Jiyeon stepped back in fear. Suddenly, the idol entered the classroom and held her from falling. He confirmed that Jiyeon was telling the truth. He was indeed the one who opened and closed the class, but he didn't see anyone suspicious. The idol flipped the cushion of a chair, and the girl's lipstick was found underneath it. The class president came to Jiyeon and said that she knew she must be hurt by what just happened. But Jiyeon was only looking at the idol. She couldn't hear anything. The idol called her name, and that's when she realized that he was still saying her name wrong. Jiyeon felt extremely disappointed. While returning home, she let out her frustration for the first time. Maybe Jiyeon was daydreaming way too much. She sat at the bus stop and found a phone lying there that someone had dropped. Jiyeon picked it up and checked it, and inside it was a big secret. This was a chance for Jiyeon to escape her ordinary life and make a new beginning. Jiyeon suddenly felt confident in herself. Some girls were hiding and waiting to take pictures of the idol group. Everyone had covered their faces and was walking very fast. Only the idol hadn't covered his face. His face spread online and became the topic of discussion at school. Along with his handsome looks, the idol was good at studies, good at sports, and had become a role model for many, including Jiyeon. Because of that phone, Jiyeon felt that now she could win his heart. She happily took the phone home, not knowing that someone was watching her. In the evening, Jiyeon checked the phone. She could see messages of every student in the school. Now, no one could hide their secrets from Jiyeon. She searched her own name and found many things written about her. When Jiyeon came to class, she already knew everyone's interests and what they liked, so she understood how to become friends with them. Very soon, she became everyone's friend in the whole school. Jiyeon just needed a little more time. But Jiyeon was under a very big misunderstanding. Knowing people's preferences is one thing, understanding them is another. Jiyeon misunderstood someone's preference for Chinese comics and failed badly for the first time. Even knowing secrets wasn't always helpful. Once she accidentally said something that made a boy angry and he left the class. That was Jiyeon's second failed attempt. But she didn't give up. Then, a new student entered their class. Dongmin. He was tall and handsome. People tried talking to him, but Dongmin wasn't paying attention to anyone. He kept looking at Jiyeon again and again. He wanted to talk to her, but Jiyeon left quickly, so he had to miss the chance. The whole class had gym class. Everyone left when Unabin remembered he had forgotten his phone in the classroom. He went back and found a note under his desk that said he should meet in the auditorium. He wanted to understand what was going on, so he followed what was written in the note. In the auditorium, someone was waiting for him, Jiyeon. She had something to ask Unabin. Jiyeon had seen a video online of a boy singing terribly and making cringe imitations. People were trying to figure out who that boy was. With the help of the mysterious phone, Jiyeon found out that the boy was Unabin. Jiyeon wanted Unabin to admit it, but he pretended not to know anything. Unabin got nervous and tried to leave. Then Jiyeon played the video aloud for him. Unabin froze for 5 seconds and then quickly ran to shut Jiyeon's mouth. Unabin confessed that he wasn't a member of any idol group. He was just an ordinary student, but he didn't want to give up his dream of becoming an idol. Jiyeon didn't intend to expose him. She had only one demand, that she could use a bit of Unabin's popularity so she wouldn't be called an invisible person anymore. Unabin was shocked to hear this. He went back to class because he needed more time to think about it. Jiyeon still had something to say, but Unabin dragged her out quickly. They both went into an empty room, which later became their meeting spot, because both of them had secrets they couldn't tell anyone. Finally, Unabin agreed to Jiyeon's condition. Now they would pretend to be in a fake relationship. Jiyeon taught Unabin how to make a romantic and attention-grabbing confession so Jiyeon could become popular. The best time would be the first class the next morning. Jiyoon would wait in class. Unabin would enter and perform, then write a love confession on the board. Jiyeon would take the pen from him and write her answer in front of everyone so the whole class would see. But Unabin didn't like the plan. He felt embarrassed and didn't know where he would hide his face. So Jiyeon gave him an easier option, confess on the gym ground. Unabin just had to take Jiyeon's water bottle and say, "I don't need the things I want. I only need Jiyeon." That much was enough to get attention. But Unabin found Jiyeon's ideas outdated. He thought Jiyeon had read all this in some old novel. He was speechless and said he would use his own method. Jiyeon easily agreed because her only aim was to become popular. She was eagerly waiting for the day when Yeonbin would confess. But at the same time, she also had to prepare herself so that she could become worthy of Yeonbin. Meanwhile, Yeonbin was very confused. He didn't know how to handle this situation. "I like you." He tried saying it again and again, but it didn't feel natural to him. "Looks like I'm digging a hole for myself," he thought. Meanwhile, Jiyeon found out that people were talking about the new transfer student, Dongmin. Because of his handsome looks, Dongmin had won the hearts of many girls in just one day. Jiyeon wished she could be like him. She tried to search information about Dongmin using the mysterious phone, but nothing showed up. Maybe Dongmin didn't use social media at all, and he didn't even know that he had become popular. Jiyeon just wanted a little piece of his popularity, but she didn't get anything. The next day, Jiyeon reached school and saw some cute couples. She was eagerly waiting for Yanbin's confession. She felt happy just by thinking about it. Suddenly, someone bumped into Jiyeon. She panicked, worried that the phone might have broken, but luckily it was fine. Jiyeon looked up and saw that the person who bumped into her was Dongmin. He didn't apologize. Instead, he scolded Jiyeon for not walking carefully. Just like before, Jiyeon didn't understand what had happened. Dongmin walked away angrily, and while leaving, he smirked and said, "You're really stupid." In class, Yanbin was extremely stressed. He didn't know how to confess to Jiyeon. The class president came to him and said hello. Yanbin got startled and accidentally said, "Jiyeon," which confused the class president. Just then, Jiyeon entered the classroom. She looked at Yanbin and signaled, asking why he hadn't confessed yet. Yanbin felt extremely embarrassed and left the class without saying anything. Jiyeon sat on her seat in disappointment. The class president couldn't understand what was going on between the two of them. During break time, Jiyeon was walking alone in the schoolyard, feeling sad. Suddenly, two boys, who were playing with water, splashed it all over her. She snapped back to reality immediately, but there was no time to run. Suddenly, someone stood right in front of her. It was Yanbin, as if a romantic confession was about to happen in the rain. But instead, Yanbin turned around and scolded the two boys. The boys came and apologized to Jiyeon, and other students also started watching, trying to understand what the relationship between Yanbin and Jiyeon was. Then, Yanbin finally said it, that he liked Jiyeon. Everyone was shocked, especially the class president, because she liked Yanbin herself. But Yanbin loved someone else, and that too someone no one expected. Dongmin saw this too. When everyone left, Dongmin came to Jiyeon. He said, "You still haven't changed." It turned out that Dongmin and Jiyeon were childhood friends, and Jiyeon used to do weird things even back then. Jiyeon now remembered that Dongmin was her childhood friend. She never expected that he would change this much. Suddenly, Jiyeon slipped, and Dongmin quickly grabbed her hand. At the same time, Yanbin also ran to catch her. Another love triangle. Both boys looked at each other. Jiyeon was shocked too, and quickly moved back toward Dongmin. Yanbin didn't understand what was happening and asked, "What are you two doing here?" Jiyeon immediately replied that Dongmin was her childhood friend. Dongmin looked a little sad. If he hadn't told her himself, Jiyeon probably still wouldn't have recognized him today. Jiyeon bowed her head and apologized. Dongmin smiled again and said, "You're still just as stupid." Yanbin then told Jiyeon that they had a lot to talk about. Remember? And suddenly, everything came back to Jiyeon's mind. Dongmin took out a picture wondering if their dating story was really true. He hadn't expected the news to spread online so quickly. Jiyeon had also found out that Dongmin had a social media account. Dongmin had signed up only recently. But how did Jiyeon know? Even she couldn't understand it. Dongmin didn't give Jiyeon a chance to explain. He walked away first so Jiyeon could go with Yanbin. Then both of them went to that empty room again. Yanbin asked Jiyeon what kind of person Dongmin was and how many years it had been since she last saw him. Jiyeon couldn't decide anything herself. Yanbin didn't talk about it any further. The most important thing was that Yanbin had confessed just the way Jiyeon wanted, and now Jiyeon was popular. So now there was no need for Yanbin anymore. He wanted Jiyeon to reject his confession, but Jiyeon refused immediately. Her social media hadn't changed at all. She didn't get any new followers, and no one was talking about her. People only wondered how an idol-like boy such as Yanbin could fall for an ordinary girl like Jiyeon. Now Jiyeon planned to make a post accepting Yanbin's confession so she could get more attention, but Yanbin didn't want that. He explained to Jiyeon that the real secret of popularity was inside her. She had to find her own strength. Depending on someone else was a terrible way to become popular. In reality, as Jiyeon had already seen, these methods didn't work. Jiyeon started thinking, maybe the real problem was actually herself. Yanbin decided that he would help Jiyeon, but without any tricks. The first step was for Jiyeon to understand herself. She was unnoticed, meaning she had no memorable memories or any special qualities. Popular people usually have a unique identity, a unique style, and a personality that no one can forget. The truth was that Jiyeon needed confidence and had to find out what her strength was. Jiyeon decided to follow Yanbin's method. She would become a source of positive energy. But it wasn't as easy as she thought. She tried too hard, making her look weird in other people's eyes. Positive energy has to come at the right time and place. Yanbin signaled Jiyeon that she was being embarrassing and needed to change. Jiyeon stepped back in shame and looked disappointed. Yanbin let her try another method. If someone is good at something, they impress others. Jiyeon started trying bowling. When Yanbin saw Jiyeon confidently catching the ball, he became excited. But when Jiyeon was about to throw the ball, she accidentally hit her own leg with it and fell to the ground. Yanbin signaled again that she should stop now.